Although it was tempting to change his routine, Michael felt that it was working for him overall, and so he decided to rather stick with what was working. If he ran into that group again, he knew he would be able to recover if there was a repeat of recent events. However, he would prefer not to repeat the beating. The next morning he felt perfectly fine and went about his usual routine, only a lot more aware of people around him. His walk to the station was uneventful and the train was on time. He was still slightly repulsed by the smell of the train tracks as he boarded the train. He remained standing near the door as that made him feel a little bit more in control. The train was relatively full and there were a few other people standing, but none looked menacing. At one point on the trip, the train lurched and someone bumped into him. Michael instinctively turned, wanting to attack the person, and realized it was an accident before he actually struck the person. He noticed his hand was in a fist, and he unclenched his fist and tried to give the person a little more room. The remainder of the trip was uneventful. He reached his normal spot and saw Saul setting up, and he went over to greet him as he usually did. Saul was his usual friendly self, but asked him where he was the last 2 days. Michael then realized he had forgotten to check how long he was out for, but Saul's question answered that for him. Michael explained that he had caught a slight bug and was home recovering. Saul empathized and explained that he was relieved to see Michael was feeling better now. After the casual chat, it was time to perform the routine, which he did as usual. He was a lot more mindful of people within the crowd this time and kept looking for danger, which affected his performance slightly, and the crowd seemed to sense that as his tips were a bit less than usual. Realizing he wasn't quite giving the performance the gusto he should, Michael decided to end a little earlier than usual. He explained to Saul that he was perhaps still not quite 100%, and they exchanged a few pleasantries before he left for home. Michael felt nervous as he began his walk to the station, but he assured himself that as it was earlier than usual, it was probably safer than he would have been leaving at his usual time. On his way to the station, he saw one of the people that had assaulted him in the distance, walking away from him. The man was alone and walking a fair bit slower than Michael was. The gap was closing relatively quickly when Michael saw him turn down a narrow street and nobody was around. This presented an opportunity, requiring some quick action. Option 1. Michael, feeling a need for revenge, unleashes his anger on the man. Option 2. He completely drains the person. Or Option 3. He walks on as if he had not seen the person. Vote now.